Yo, Ogwan, hope you're having a great day. Now, this video is going to do exactly what it says on the tin. You're going to have piano chord inversions explained very easily. So, if you don't know how to use chord inversions, your chord progression is going to sound pretty bad and amateur, if you didn't know already. Your songs are also going to be very hard to play on the piano for anyone who can play piano. So, this is very important. This is stuff that you really need to know. Now, the good news is it's pretty easy to understand and start implementing in your music as soon as possible. This is really the bare minimum basics of music theory, and the bare minimum basics of music theory is pretty much all you really need to make good music. Like, you can get advanced down the road, but we'll talk about that down the road. Now, I've got a question for you. What is the best way to use chord inversions? Don't know the answer? Well, I'm going to be revealing that later on in this video, so stay tuned. This is the #1 spot for musicians and creatives that don't want to be starving artists. So if that sounds like you, click on that subscribe button, check out the rest of the content on the channel because you will love it here, guaranteed. Now let's get into it. First, let's explain what a basic chord triad is. Let's bring up the piano roll, and this is a basic chord triad. This is an A minor chord. A, C, E makes up the A minor chord. So how do you make a chord triad? Easy. You start on a note, you miss the next note in the scale, and then you add a note. So this is A, this is the next note in the scale, this is the note that we want, okay? Then the next note in the scale is D, the note that we want is E. That's how you make a chord triad. I've got a video on how to make chords and stuff like that. Go check that out if you need more information on how to make chord triads. That's the basics. A root position is when the note that the chord is named after is in the bottom position. The root position, the root note is the note that the chord is named after. So A at the bottom, this will be root position. First inversion is when the root note is at the top of the chord. So A at the top would make this first inversion. Second inversion is when you flip the bottom note again. So the bottom note now goes to the top, or when the A is in the middle. So when the root note is in the middle, that's the second inversion. First inversion is root note at the top. Second inversion, root note in the middle. Root position, root note at the bottom. Okay, that is chord inversions in a nutshell. Let's test your knowledge, shall we? Let's make sure you're actually learning here. Guess which inversions these chords are. Okay, so I'm gonna do let's do a 1-6-5 chord progression. 1-6-5-4 chord progression. Let's bring this down an octave, and let's just start by making triads. And then after we do that, we'll start inverting, and leave a comment down below and let me know where each one is before I reveal the answer, of course. Don't wait until the answer comes. So I'm not going to say anything. Let me just quickly change this around and we shall see what happens. Okay, so let's actually add some bass notes, and we'll bring everything up. Okay, put your guesses down below. Your objective right now is to answer the question, what inversions, or maybe they're not inversions, are these chords in? Now, just so you know, all the bass notes are the root notes of the chord right here. So this is an A chord, F chord, E chord, and D chord, just to make it a little bit easier for you if you don't know which notes are in each chord. Now, pause the video and answer which inversion is #1, which inversion is #2, which inversion is #3, and which inversion is #4. Comment down below. Don't wait until I give you the answer. Pause now, comment down below. Okay, let's get into the answer, right? So this chord would be a second inversion because the A is in the middle, remember? Now, this chord, #2, would be a root position because the root note is at the bottom. #3 would also be root position. And then #4 is a first inversion because the root note is at the top, D, F, A. That's that, okay? Did you get it right? I hope you did. I hope you did. If you got it right, then I'm teaching you well. Okay. Now, if you want to learn my 9 easy step process for making trap beats from scratch, click on the link in the description or go to jcarterray.com/free trap course that will walk you from the beginning of creating a beat all the way to the end of mastering the beat. And that course is absolutely free, but it won't be around forever. So definitely go and sign up for that as soon as possible. Let's get back into the video though. Now, why would you use an inversion? What's this all about? Yeah? What's even the point? Like, why would you even need an inversion? Well, that's a good question, and I'm going to explain that right now. So even though each chord still has the same notes, they sound different. They sound very much different. Let's give you an example. We'll make these all root positions, and then we'll change them back to the chord inversion, and you'll hear the difference, okay? So let's play this back. Doesn't sound too bad, but if you bring this E down and you bring this D up, it's going to sound better and way smoother, okay? So let's listen. I think it sounds better, and I think it sounds smoother. We can also randomize the notes and do all that sort of stuff to, you know, make the chord sound better, but that's not what we're doing here. Different inversions make the chord sound different, even though it's got the same notes. Piano players use inversions in order to make it easier to get from one chord to another. For example, this is a C chord, and this would be in second inversion because the C is all the way up here. Actually, let's come down here and play the C chord. Okay, that's E, G, C. And then if we wanted to go to the D chord, it would be very easy to move to D, G, F, D, G. Oh, F, A, G, my bad. Okay, from the C chord, you just move over one. The exact same fingering. And then for the C chord to the A chord, that's even easier. So this is C, and then A will just be moving your finger from the 2 to the 3. That's piano lingo. If you don't know what I meant from the 2 to the 3, don't worry about it right now. It's not super important. But that's an example of how inversions can be used and why piano players would use inversions to make your hand move less. And the less your hand moves, the easier it is to play the piece, which is super important because you want to write your music, you want to create your music like it would be played in real life by an actual piano player, because that makes everything sound smoother, sound better, and makes it actually realistic and able to be played by a piano player. So you definitely want to use this. And it's time to answer the question from earlier. And that question was, what is the best way to use chord inversions, right? Now, the answer is the best way to use chord inversions in a chord progression is to reuse any notes that are in the previous chord and the next chord. For example, you see this C and this A, we reuse them. We didn't go here to over there. No, we stayed there in the same octave and we reused those notes as we could. Anytime you have common notes between chords, you want to use them in the same octave to make this transition even smoother, okay? And very playable. So let's quickly recap the things that you need to know. Basic chord triad is like so, skip a note, skip a note. You know that, you've watched my videos, hopefully you know how to make a basic chord triad. Root position is when the chord root note is at the bottom of the chord. First inversion is when the chord root note is at the top of the chord. Second inversion is when the root note is in the middle of the chord. And you should use chord inversions to make your chord progressions smoother, make them sound better, and make them playable by piano players. Now, if you got any questions or any other tutorials you want me to make, please let me know in the comment section down below. Also, you'll find some useful links in the description. You might find something you like in there, like my beat mixing template, which will have your beats half mixed before you even get to the mixing stage. Link down below. And in the next video, you'll learn more about music, online business, and online marketing. I'll see you there. Peace out.